Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Weird World Adventures, the podcast. I'm your host, Mallory.
And I'm your host, Michael.
And we're here to show you just how weird this world of ours really is. This episode is about literary legends, when authors become myths themselves. And,
Dum, dum, dum.
And speaking of myths, make sure you check out Mallory'sAdventures.com, where we highlight our favorite pieces of folklore and mythology, and watch Weird World Adventures on Amazon Prime and Roku. Season 2 will be dropping any day as soon as the gods of distribution decide it's time.
Press that button.
It's out of our hands now, but it will be available any day. And when it does, you'll be able to find some of our favorite myths and legends in fun video format on Amazon. I'm definitely fine right now.
Yeah, you've recorded too many of these in a row.
I have. Okay, here's a question for you, Michael. When does a person stop being a person and start being a legend?
Is this like the man, hero, legend, myth progression? Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah. Or like the chicken and the egg? I'm just kidding.
I think that's a different thing. Although I have an opinion on that too. Okay, so you can be a normal person, and then I think obviously there's people that are heroes in their own lifetime.
Yeah.
And then I think rarely you can become legendary in your own, like a living legend, right? You can become legendary in your own lifetime. Rarely.
I think it's rarely, yeah.
I think it's rare.
Most legends become legends well after they die.
Yeah, but I mean, living, like, there's a term. Yeah. Anyways. And then I think myth is after.
Yes.
I don't think you can be a living myth.
That's fair. Well, you know, I had a textbook. I'll have to find the breakdown of this that really did it well, like what was considered folklore versus myth versus legend. They actually had like very particular breakdowns for it. But this is like, when does a person stop being a person and start being a legend? Like, what happens that makes them move past it?
Move past person status?
Person status. And become legend status. Like
I guess when
Merlin.
When their antics takes on a life of its own and gets retold in popular culture.
Yeah, like culture like adapts them and they become more than who they were.
Maybe when they like kind of lose control to some degree of their own narrative, right?
I like that. That's
when
a good
society
answer.
has just, is now just creating the stories around the legends around the person.
Yeah, I like that.
Which I guess is why in my definitions of those things, it's very uncommon for someone to be a living legend. Not impossible, but uncommon, because if they're still around, they're there to be like, well, I didn't do that.
Right.
Once they're gone, it's just
there's no one to
free
control the
reign
narrative.
To make some BS up.
Yeah. I think writers occupy this strange space in our cultural imagination. They create fictional worlds, but they themselves become fictionalized after they die. So a lot of times it is after they die, right? Their real lives get embroidered with myths. Their personalities get exaggerated into caricatures, and the places they live get transformed into shrines. And somehow it's just this otherworldly thing now instead of being a human being.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not just writers, though.
No, it's people too. Like we've done like podcasts early on Merlin, how it was probably a real person, and then through the centuries it becomes this mythological being.
Merlin's an interesting one, and I won't claim any expertise. I like Arthurian lore, but I don't have any specific Merlin like detailed knowledge. But my gestalt of that stuff is he probably was multiple real people.
Yes, there's two people they think were merged
It's probably
together.
just a bunch of people that stories merged over time. I mean, this is my opinion on Jesus, right? There probably was a Jesus. There's probably a bunch of Jesuses or people, that those legends get amalgamated over hundreds of years, especially kind of prehistory or early history where, I mean, how many books were there, right? It's mostly oral tradition, oral storytelling.
Yeah.
And I mean, good luck getting the story right when it's being orally passed down for 200 years, hundreds of years. I mean, I can't even remember what I watched on Netflix last night.
Right. I mean, Arthur Crowley's another one. Who's the philosopher? Nicholas Flamel is another one. He was a real person. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them. And I think a good one to bring up here, since we live in Richmond, Virginia, is Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah, that's a good one.
He's a good one. You can't walk 10 feet here without encountering Edgar Allan Poe. There's the Poe Museum. There is the old stone house the Poe Museum is in, which he never actually lived in, but it's the oldest building in Richmond, so it's pretty cool. There's the Edgar Allan Poe statue on Capitol Square. There's Poe-themed bars. There's Poe ghost tours. There's Linden Row Inn, where he used to meet with his lover. His footprints...
Is this the lover that he... Yeah. He used the same poem. He used the same love poem on a bunch of women, right?
He used Annabelle Lee on a bunch of women. Okay. On a bunch of... Elmira was the girl, his young lover that he used to meet with, and they were engaged. And she went off to school.
Right.
And he went off to school. And he would send her love letters, and her father was actually intercepting and destroying the letters, so she thought he moved on and forgot about her. And then he came back like, we're going to get married, and she had moved on and married someone else because she thought he forgot him. Yeah. Wasn't getting the letters, so that was sad. And then they actually married at the end of his life. Like, she was divorced, or not divorced. I think her husband died. Widowed. Yeah. She was widowed. He was widowed multiple times. They came back together. They were engaged, and he died like a few days before their wedding.
Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah, no good at all. Tragic all over. So Richmond has claimed Poe as its favorite son, despite the fact that Poe was actually born in Boston. Boston. Lived most of his literary career in Baltimore and Philadelphia, and had a pretty complicated relationship with Richmond. But he did grow up in Richmond, so he has that. The Poe myth has completely overwhelmed Poe the person. Okay, so who we see Poe as today, this dark, brooding, whatever. I mean, his life was filled with tragedy, but it's become this crazy, immortalized, dark person.
I think of him as the South Park episode.
Yeah,
the emos
the
versus
emos,
the goths
yes,
versus the vamp kids.
Yes,
and then there's Poe.
There's Poe.
I think that's
Ghost
probably
Poe,
the
right?
most accurate Ghost Poe.
Definitely. Yeah. He was born in 1809 in Boston to actor parents. His father abandoned the family. His mother died when he was 2.
Yeesh.
And he was taken in by John and Frances Allen of Richmond. Okay. And taken in, never actually adopted. But his Edgar Allan Poe is because the Allens had taken him in.
Do you know why they didn't just adopt him?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But they gave him a good life. And he actually had a sister who was taken in by another family.
Got it.
And she was in like a boarding school with all girls, and he would like send love letters to all the girls in her boarding school through her, and he got in a lot of trouble with the ladies. Always.
Same love letter?
Yeah. It was the same love letter.
Was it really?
It was.
He just sent the same thing to a bunch of girls in the same building?
Yes. He didn't think through a lot of things.
Yikes. I mean, I reused my marriage vows, but yeah.
Wow. Michael's no longer with us. So he lived with the Allens in Richmond from 3 to 18 and then went to the University of Virginia for a year before debt forced him to leave. Okay. So his relationship with his foster father was terrible. John Allen was wealthy but refused to help Poe financially, leading to constant conflict. And Poe left Richmond, enlisted in the army, got into West Point, got himself court-martialed deliberately to escape West Point, and then spent the rest of his life scraping by as a writer and editor in various cities, and actually really never made it when he was alive.
Yeah, that's probably true of a lot of famous writers, artists, right?
Yeah, definitely. It was always the next, this is going to be my big, there's so many letters in the Poe Museum. This is going to be my next big break. This is going to be it. And he was published, but he wasn't making money off of it. Not enough to survive.
Sure.
And he, I think, eventually wanted to start his own publication, thinking that would, do it. And he returned to Richmond several times, including during the last months of his life in 1849. He gave lectures. He got engaged to Elmira, his childhood sweetheart. And then he left for Baltimore, where he died under mysterious circumstances at the age of 40.
God, he was only 40?
He was only 40. Oh, no. God, that's your year, Michael.
I just turned 40.
Oh, so that's the real Poe.
I'm going to be going to Baltimore?
Maybe don't do that. I've heard bad stories of things that happen. 40, yeah. Okay. Yeah, they might not even ever know what would happen to you.
I think it's the closest medieval times, though.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm going to have to risk it.
There's a medieval times there?
Yeah.
Well, we have to go. We have to go to medieval times, so we'll go together, though. Okay, so that's real Poe.
Okay.
Mythical Poe is this tortured, romantic genius who wandered Richmond streets at night, communing with ravens, writing morbid poetry in graveyards. Mm-hmm. He was tragically in love with women who all died at young ages, inspiring his Gothic masterpieces. So, Mythical Poe was addicted to opium and alcohol, writing in fevered, drug-fueled creative frenzies, and he's a ghost who haunts Richmond all the time.
Was he not actually addicted to opium?
I don't think he was. He was an alcoholic. Most of this is not true.
Alcohol just seems like it was, it still is, but maybe even more so than ubiquitous.
Yeah.
I don't know. What else are you going to do back then?
He did drink, but he probably wasn't an alcoholic in modern times because his constitution was so low that he could have one drink, maybe two, and would just be, obliterated.
Yeah, but I don't think the definition is amount. I think it's if it is having, the definition of a substance use disorder. I don't think it's, you're not a heroin addict based on the number of shots of heroin. It's I'd have to look up the real. There's actual criteria. I think it's more to do with if it is persistently negatively impacting your ability to function, relationships, jobs, that kind of thing, and physical dependence on it.
Right.
If you have withdrawal symptoms.
I will say. That is a good point. Maybe, I don't know. I think
because people can drink vastly different quantities of alcohol, right?
Yeah. But he did not use opium.
Okay. Yeah. So that's just totally made up.
Totally made up. Well. His wife, Virginia, died of tuberculosis, which was tragically common in the time, and not in a romantic way. It was made into this sad romantic.
One of my favorite historical characters, Doc Holliday.
Yeah?
Died of tuberculosis.
Did he now?
Yeah. Come on, Wyatt Earp's guy.
I know.
The Gentleman Gambler. The OK Corral.
Yeah.
Consumption.
And while he wrote dark literature, his personal letters reveal someone with a sharp sense of humor who liked cats and liked to discuss literary theory. So
he didn't like cats.
And he was actually, like you said, he liked cats. He did like cats.
So this is real Poe or mythic Poe?
This is real Poe.
Real Poe like cats.
Yeah.
Mythic Poe.
Did not like cats.
Okay.
No, he just... You think of him as this, romantic, I love all these women and they die. And he was definitely a player, but he sent the same letter to all the girls in the girls' school, right? So really, he did not have game.
See, I don't feel like I have him pictured as a player. I have him pictured as an emo guy.
Emo guy.
He would want to be a player, but the girls are like, you look a little desperate.
But there's a romanticism to it that definitely doesn't exist when you send all the girls the same letter.
All right, yeah, well,
And you don't tell, you write this beautiful piece of poetry, Annabelle Lee, and then you don't tell everyone you wrote it for them. That ruins it, right? Not a romantic, not kind of a loser.
Okay.
And was actually a critic. They talk about this at the Poe Museum. Mm-hmm. There was a critic that despised Poe that would constantly... This is a
contemporary...
No, this was in his time.
Yeah,
in Poe's time.
Yeah, contemporary to him, yeah.
Contemporary to Poe.
Okay.
This critic would write about Poe being deranged and a madman and would tear him down and hated all of his work so much and would call him insane, right?
Okay.
And that kind of started building Poe's legacy as this deranged, psychotic, death-obsessed madman. Mm-hmm. But it only started, lighting a fire under his popularity near the end of his life because people wanted to read something written by an actual madman, right? There's a fascination.
People like psychos.
Exactly.
It's good advertising.
Exactly. So a lot of this, dark, morbid psychosis that has been painted to him is thanks to the critics shitting on him, basically. And that actually helping his career.
I feel like this might be a little sexist, but I feel like girls also specifically kind of like the psycho stuff. Not like they would want to be in a relationship with a psycho, but are fascinated by psycho lore. Didn't we go to the...
We did at the Alcatraz East.
And they said...
She said the men come for the Wild West.
And gangsters.
And the gangsters, the mob. And the women come for the serial killers.
Yeah, the psychos. Yeah, I don't mean like women want to date...
No, but they're fascinated.
But they're fascinated by it.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
I mean, total sidebar. I mean, who doesn't like a good serial killer story, right?
Yeah,
Doc.
Right.
I read a book back in college about serial killers. Mm-hmm. And then my sister borrowed, was like, can I borrow that book? And I was like, sure. And I got it back maybe half a year later. And I keep very...
Oh, that's the book.
On a side, on a side.
Okay.
I have all I don't get rid of my books. I have them all stacked, I keep them like they're trophies.
Yeah.
I read my books in a way that it's hard to tell they've been read. I'm very meticulous about keeping care of my books. Anyways, she gives me this book back, 6 months, a year later, and it looked like she ran it over her car a dozen times. I mean, I've never seen a book in worse shape. Maybe ever. Not one that still retains its shape as a book.
Like Marissa.
And she just hands it back and is like, here you go. I'm like, what is this? She's like, oh, I took it. It got a little wet. I'm like, wet? It is just, this thing is falling apart. I was like, I don't know how you even did this.
Just buy a new book.
Yeah. I made her buy a new book. I made her buy a new one. I was like, you can keep that one. You can order me a new one on Amazon. Anyways, she liked the serial killer stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And the myth is so much more marketable than the man. So you have this real person who enlisted in the army, who had a rough life, but was still like a person, right? Mm-hmm. Struggling writer, wanting to do something good. And he gets painted as this deranged madman who's on all these drugs, who can't keep his life together. It becomes a caricature of a human being.
Yeah.
At some point, right? And Richmond's Poe industry is built on mythical Poe. I mean, every Poe tourism industry is built on mythical Poe. The ghost tours emphasize the darkness and the tragedy. And I'll say, like, Poe Museum, to its credit, does historically present it as accurate, albeit like fascinatingly dramatic, because Chris Sumter, their curator, pretends to be Poe at Halloween time.
He does a good Poe.
He does a great Poe. And it's interesting, the two women Poe was most connected to in Richmond were his foster mother, Frances Allen, who genuinely loved him and he had a wonderful relationship with her, and Elmira Shelton, his last fiancée and one of his first loves. And they barely appear in the mythology because they kind of complicate the doomed romance, right? You hear about all of the Poe loves that died, but the healthy, strong female relationships in his life get kind of overwritten. It's part of picking and choosing to build the mythology and the caricature of what you want. So instead, the Richmond Poe lore focuses on Virginia Clem, his wife who died in New York, and often conflates her with other women from Poe's life. And the myth needs the tragic dead beloved. It just does that. So it creates her even when the real story is more complicated.
Okay,
so,
fair enough.
Yeah. And Poe's actual relationship with Richmond was kind of ambivalent at best. He was from there, but it wasn't like he was just hopelessly in love with Richmond. But we love to paint that he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not a great marketing ploy if you're
right.
He was lukewarm on Richmond.
Yeah.
Here's all his stuff.
Yeah. And the result is visitors coming to Richmond expecting this dark, gothic, mysterious Richmond. And the city delivers it, even though it requires sometimes misrepresenting Poe and the city's history. But I mean, when does the legend become... I don't know.
I think if you're honest about it, you can say these are
the
legend. This is the guy,
and this is the legend,
and then these are the legends.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, in the same way, it's not to me, it's not problematic if you're telling a folklore story as long as you're being honest that it's folklore.
This is folklore.
My favorite genre to read is fantasy. I'm just fully aware that it's fantasy.
Right. Right.
It's only a problem when you try to paint it as fact.
Right. And without the critics, you wouldn't have this famous, iconicized, crazy, dark, dramatic Poe.
Yeah.
There's a weird story. I wish I remembered the guy's name, to be honest, but Chris told the story when I was at the Poe Museum, where this guy, wanted to create Poe for being macabre and deranged and insane. But then the critic, when his wife died, was so devastated, he, spent some nights laying with his wife after she died. So, who's really macabre there, right?
Yikes.
Yikes.
Wow, what a...
I think it's a deleted scene in Weird World because I don't think it's in there, but that was a fun story.
Oh, you deleted the best part?
Don't worry, we'll have a special deleted scenes coming out on Mallory'sAdventures.com.
The critic was banging the widow?
Yeah.
Oh,
No, the dead wife. His dead wife.
He was banging.
His wife died.
Yeah, and he was necrophilia
yeah,
style?
For a little bit after she died because he was sad and lonely.
He was sad and lonely. You say that like that's just a reasonable... He was banging that corpse because he was just a little sad and lonely. It's fine. Who of us haven't dabbled into the world of necrophilia
Well,
in our sadder moments?
But that's the point.
Yeah,
that's condemning. He's condemning Poe for being deranged and macabre, and
that's got to be one of the most deranged things you can do.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right. Yeah,
you cast the first stone.
Yikes. All right. Next people.
Another one I would be remiss to not bring up here is Shakespeare. Because there's legends that Shakespeare wasn't even a real person. It's funny how people have come out and fought the idea that he was a person and saying it was a collective of people.
Yeah. I am not a Shakespeare scholar or expert, but my quick overview on hearing a little bit of it from people that know what they're talking about is they're pretty sure there was a Shakespeare, and that the multiple people or someone writing under a Shakespeare pseudonym or is not the case.
Yeah. I can say I've been to Shakespeare's place of birth. There are places, so if you go to Stratford-upon-Avon, you can go to the house he was born in. And again, how much of it is tourismized, I don't know.
Right.
But you can visit the house he was born in. You can visit his grave. I visited his grave. You can visit his daughter's house.
Okay.
And I think his granddaughter's house. And the Anne Hathaway house. Because weirdly enough, Shakespeare's wife, her name was Anne Hathaway.
That's funny. You said that, I was like, what the hell does that have to do with this?
And I don't know. So we went to Stratford-upon-Avon when I was studying abroad in England. And I was with these two other girls. We could just break off into whatever groups we wanted and do whatever the hell. Because we're in college, right? Just go explore and meet back here for a show at whatever time. And me and these two other girls...
No rules in the theater department here.
Well, as long as we met back up at a certain time. Because we had to see A Winter's Tale that night we saw As You Like It. We were supposed to see
I'll be honest, I don't even know what these are. I mean, I know a few famous Shakespeare lines, but I wouldn't be able to tell you what happens in any of these. Which one has the bear?
That's Winter's Tale.
Okay, I like
Exit
the bear.
Pursued by Bear.
That's good.
It was, for some reason, I've always been a weirdo, right? And we
Yes,
started at Shakespeare's birthplace. I'm okay, this is a good place to start in the city. We definitely have to see this. And then I was just full obsessive focused on, I want to see his grave. We have to go to the graveyard.
Gotta dig him up.
Gotta go there. Gotta be there. And so him and Anne
Take
Hathaway.
a skull out,
Yeah.
Do some famous Shakespeare with it.
Hamlet.
Yeah.
To be or not to be.
Yes.
And so we beelined it after that to the church. Because he's buried inside the church, in the altar. The most important people are buried, in the altar of the church, right? So him and Anne Hathaway are, in the altar of the church. So we beelined it there. And then it closed right after we left. So no one else got to see it.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, aren't you guys happy that I had this crazy obsession? Because how devastating would it be to be there? Yeah. And then you don't get let in. And then we went to, I think it was his granddaughter's house. It was one of the other houses. And the man that was giving the tours there was so fascinated by having these 3 American girls come in. And he was like, this is my moment to be a total freak and tell them all the great stories that I know.
But he was that surprised to see Americans?
I
guess.
guess.
The UK.
We made his day. He told us that the tree outside the house was from Virginia. we were from Virginia, and they sent this tree from Virginia. He was so excited by it. And then he made us sit on the bench of repentance because they don't like us Americans because we,
maybe you had some stuff to repent
from
for.
The British. And it was pretty great.
Yeah.
But
thanks for the tea, asshole.
Right. But there is a Shakespeare birth house, and there is a grave for Shakespeare. So I feel like he was a person.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you could certainly just say that about any grave.
I
right?
know.
I like I said, I think the consensus by experts is that there was just a Shakespeare. There was a guy, and he just did that stuff.
Yeah.
And you don't need all the
conspiracy
theories about it. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, the fact that there's a grave or something, Shakespeare's grave doesn't add a whole lot of credence to me.
But from a church that's so old, and it's like
if there's like ledgers and documents going back, that's evidence.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a hole in the ground.
But I think he's so far removed from, like, nobody knows what William Shakespeare was like, right? It was so long ago.
Yeah.
It's not like Edgar Allan Poe where we have documented evidence of who this person was and how he became such a caricature of himself. Mm-hmm. We don't have that with Shakespeare because who knows what Shakespeare was really like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But he was a freak.
I'm sure he was. Have you read some of Shakespeare?
Not really. It's hard to read. I mean, I like reading.
It's an iambic pentameter.
I know. See, like, I don't know. Stuff that's kind of like poetry or reads in poetry type formats, I really have a tough time with. It's an area of art and reading that I've always wanted to really be able to appreciate, and I've tried, and I'm not.
Did you like the Iliad though?
Yeah, that's true.
Epic, though.
It's an epic. It doesn't read
right.
I mean, the closest one I can think that I liked that is in, I don't remember what, like, iambic whatever it's in, but the Divine Comedy is written in one consistent line, like, or whatever it's called. It's 3 books, like, it's like 600-700 pages of uninterrupted same poetry style, which is crazy to me.
I will say,
I liked that. Well, I liked Inferno.
Okay.
And then Purgatorio is like, all right, I mean, I think I get what you're saying. It's interesting, but it's a little weird. And then Paradiso is, at least to me, uninterpretable LSD trip. Just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. I will say, we had to take full classes on interpreting Shakespeare. It is like a...
I'm not trying to say I don't like it. I have read some Shakespeare, and yes, it's very good, and I can, even as a lay, essentially lay person, appreciate how masterfully it's written. It's just, it really requires me to be in a certain headspace to read in that style.
Yeah.
It's effort, to me at least, to read it.
Yes. And having to decipher, I remember it has stuck with me forever, but like once you learn it's like intention behind it, it makes it easier to decipher, but I feel like seeing it is easier than reading it.
Yeah, it's almost its own language that you have to be trained to learn. Like, you almost have to be able to read this language before you can start enjoying the language.
Yeah.
It's not natural. It does, or to me, it doesn't read naturally. It's not like I'm picking up a book and just reading a book.
Yeah.
It's effort to decipher, and then when you do, it's rewarding. But yeah, it's not natural.
It's
me.
not.
Yeah.
It's definitely not. I love my Desdemona. Oh, good Iago, what shall I do to win my lord again? Good friend, go to him, for by this light of heaven I know not how I lost him. Here I kneel. If ever my will did trust counsed his love, either in discord of thought or actual deed, or that mine eyes, mine ears, or any sense delighted them in any other form.
Man, you just pulled that
out of
your ass. She's also doing the full like theatrics to me, as if there's an audience.
Because it's like an intention.
To be or not to be?
That is the question.
That is the question.
Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows. I don't actually know if that's right.
That's the extent of my knowledge. Well, that and the line I had inscribed on my iPod.
That's right.
As we discussed in the previous episode.
We did.
My boy, Shakespeare. What an ironic thing for me to put on there. From somebody who's like, I don't know Shakespeare. This line sounds really cool, though.
But, the two households, both alike in dignity.
I know. There's a lot. There's a lot that...
Verona, where we lay our scene.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
I agree,
Yeah, it's good. Some classic stuff. Anyway, move on to the Bronte sisters and Hayworth.
Yeah, this one I'm going to have little to nothing to
I don't have that much to add either.
all I know is one of them wrote Jane Eyre.
Yep.
And the only reason I know that is because I was forced to read it junior year in high school and then write a report on it. And I honestly have no idea what the story is about.
Oh, no.
Other than I did not enjoy it. And then I have no idea what I wrote about other than the teacher liked it a lot and was like, this was really good. I'm giving you an A. She wasn't a touchy-feely teacher. She was like pretty, so it was like, it meant something to get good feedback. I was like, thank you. And then as the reward for it being good, she's like, it's so good. I want you to present it to the class. And by the way, I hate it. I still don't like it, but I hated it in a way that, is hard to describe public speaking.
Yeah.
Worst, I would have rather done almost anything else.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? So I do a good job, and now I'm the only asshole who has to read their paper to the fucking class?
Yeah.
I was up for weeks worrying about it.
Yeah.
And I have no memory of what I even wrote. I have a
Thanks, teacher.
Yeah, I have a bad taste in my mouth for Jane Eyre and the Brontes because I had to publicly speak my paper in junior year, and I have no idea what the story was about, and I have no idea what I wrote about. I just remember the 2 weeks of being up all night, sweating, having to public speak.
Wow.
That's all I have to contribute. Yeah, trauma. I have trauma, right.
So the Bronte Parsonage Museum attracts hundreds of visitors a year. Sorry, hundreds of thousands of visitors a year. All coming to see where Charlotte, Emily, and Anne Bronte
people a year visit.
lived and wrote their revolutionary novels, Jane Eyre, Wuthering Heights, and The Tenet of Wildfell Hall.
I haven't heard of that last one.
I haven't heard of the last one either.
I have not read Wuthering Heights.
I have not, but my dad loves it because he loves it everything girly. And just like with Poe and Richmond, the mythology of the Brontes has become inseparable from their reality. The myth goes something like this. 3 brilliant otherworldly sisters living in isolation on the widespread moors, communing with nature, creating their masterpieces in gothic solitude, and dying tragically young before they could be properly recognized.
You can't even read your own write-up without laughing at this. Otherworldly sisters. Why are they otherworldly?
Because they're legendary.
But what about them's otherworldly?
Mythological. They connect with nature. They're like old hags. Except not old hags.
Was their stuff really nature-y?
I'm just telling you how people see them. They're like gods to women, Michael. The reality is considerably more mundane and also more interesting.
Okay.
The Brontes were a middle-class clergy family. Their father was the parson of Hayworth.
What is a parson?
That's a great question.
I asked because we did the Christmas trivia game, and I think my mom did it, and reused the same questions each year for like 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And by the end, I was like, well, I just know what these answers are because we've done it 3 times. But one of them was Parson Brown. I forget.
Oh, yeah, Parson Brown.
Which song is that in? Yeah, whatever. The answer to the question, whatever the question was. And I was like...
In the meadow we can build a snowman.
Yeah.
And pretend that he is Parson Brown.
The first year, I didn't know the answer. And then when she read the answer, I was like, Parson Brown? Like, what are you talking... Like, you can't just make stuff up. And then she showed me the lyrics. And I was like, I've definitely, like, hummed, I was like, Parson Brown?
I will say, it has been changed. It was Parson Brown in the old days. Now they say, and pretend that he's a circus clown. It has changed. They made it like no one knows what this is.
Circus clown?
Yes. Now he's a circus clown.
But that's also going to be not known. Like,
that's fair.
There's no circuses
That's
anymore.
Fair. It's going to change again. Timothy Chalamet. That's the new one. Parson is an ordained Christian minister, often a Protestant pastor.
Okay. I mean, I figured it was
pretty
some kind
much.
of priest, but yeah. Anyways, I just never heard that phrase.
The father's a Protestant pastor.
Okay.
They were not wealthy, but they weren't poverty-stricken.
Mm-hmm.
They had a servant.
Okay.
They received education. Charlotte attended boarding school and worked as a governess and teacher. Emily and Anne also worked as governesses. Okay. So it wasn't an isolated moorland wilderness where they were lived away from civilization.
But they were otherworldly.
They were otherworldly. Okay. It was an industrial village, very different, with a population of several thousand with mills and factories. I know.
Okay.
The Bronte's house was on the main street next to the church and graveyard in the middle of the town. Mm-hmm. And they wrote because they were extraordinarily talented, and not because they were extraordinarily talented, because they needed to make money.
Probably the reason most people
do
it, right?
They published under male pseudonyms because women writers weren't taken seriously. Yep. When their true identities became known.
What's your male pseudonym, author, pen name?
D. Blackman.
All right.
It is.
Okay.
I already know. Cool. Like the girl that wrote not Curse of Strahd, I Strahd from Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
It was a woman, and she put her initials as the first two, so you wouldn't know a woman wrote it.
Okay.
But then I read it and was like, a woman wrote this. When their true identities became known, Charlotte in particular became a celebrity in London literary circles. So they did die really young. Emily was 30, Anne was 29, and Charlotte was 38, but from tuberculosis and complications of pregnancy, not from romantic wasting away on the moor.
Wait, so the legend is they're just
like farm girls.
Pining romantic. And
yes.
I can't eat anymore. I just waste away.
Yep.
What kind of nonsense is that?
The myth started during Charlotte's lifetime when her first biography was published right after her death. The biographer Elizabeth Gaskell emphasized the isolation, tragedy, and Gothic atmosphere. So her first biographer for Charlotte made her martyr immediately. Yeah.
Okay.
So again, the critics created fake Poe. The biographers create fake Charlotte. And that stuck.
This is a little bit of a sidebar here, but over the last few years, I've read a lot of famous history, and some of the stuff I read went way pretty far back.
Yeah.
And you just wonder well, I mean, this is just who knows, right? Who, especially a lot of this stuff. It's got maybe everything you know about X figure. Is based on one person's writing, right? We only have one book, right? Because it's 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, that's
true. And it's
true.
Well, who knows, right? They could have said anything. And now it's the only thing that we have left.
And you can see that, then
it's this is recent. You just made this completely up.
And they trace a lot of the Poe myth back to that single biographer. I mean, critic or whatever. That, was kind of deranged himself.
Yeah.
By the early 20th century, Hayward had become a pilgrimage site for people that loved the Brontes. And people came expecting to find this wild romantic landscape in Wuthering
Heights.
An
industrial city.
I mean, what they wrote, too, Wuthering Heights is the wild, nature-filled, running in the field. It's all romantic, and it's just
I don't know. I haven't read it.
And instead,
sure,
they want to see these moors that Emily walked in, and it's actually just a city, right?
Here's a normal city.
Touristy village with tea shops and souvenir stores selling Bronte family things, right?
And here's your Bronte button from the souvenir store. And would you like some T-shirts and hats?
Exactly.
Bronte swag.
Yeah. So their mythology demands this romantic version and that's what the tourism industry wants to deliver.
Sure.
So they have guidebooks emphasizing isolation and wilderness. Gift shops sell Wuthering Heights tea towels and Jane Eyre tote bags.
Tote bag.
They can take photos on the moors.
All right.
What's lost in all of this is the actual radicalism of the Brontes' work. They were women writing about female desire, social injustice, economic precarity, domestic abuse. And people kind of overlook that because they want the romanticism. Jane Eyre was revolutionary for making its heroine poor and plain and angry.
It's funny you say that. I'm just like, I don't have any memory really of that at all.
Wuthering Heights was shocking for its violence and moral ambiguity. It's like pretty...
Have you read it?
No, but I've read a lot of things about the new film comparing it to... Like I've read a lot of, like, deconstructions of it.
Got it.
Okay. I want to read it. I've read a lot of the deconstructions. And it's pretty, like... savagely like sexual, right? Which is kind of crazy. Savagely sexual, but really, and depicts like kind of toxically destructive relationships, like repeating cycles.
Doesn't sound too bad.
No, and I mean, who wrote about that?
I'd read it for the savage sex scenes.
And who wrote about that back then? Women wrote about that, right? Yeah. Apparently, the tenant of Wildfell Hall addresses alcoholism and women's property rights.
I haven't heard of that book.
I haven't either. But the myth has transformed the Brontes into dreamy romantic figures, otherworldly and ethereal.
Wasting away.
And
from TB.
Yeah, so... Which,
by the way, is a wasting disease. It's called consumption. I mean, they used to call it consumption.
Yeah,
you just waste away.
Yeah.
Okay.
TB.
No good.
No good at all. I'm trying to think of other people, too. I have Ernest Hemingway on here, but I feel like I'm missing out on, like, a good opportunity.
I've seen tuberculosis a few times. In real life, by the way.
Still on tuberculosis.
Sorry, my mind went elsewhere.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is it horrifying?
I mean, the reason it's not, like, a huge problem usually is because we have drugs for it.
Right.
But there are resistant strains, and if you get like a drug resistant strain, it can be super bad news. And you have to be in an isolation room, do all the masks and stuff if you go in there, because it is super contagious.
What a weird thing to see, like, in modern times.
You think of it as not relevant anymore, right? At least in the USA now. Yeah.
Yeah, weird. And the last is Ernest Hemingway and the persona. I don't know a lot about him either. He's the one that had the six-toed cats, right? That's what I know about him.
I don't even know that.
You don't know about the six-toed cats? You can visit Ernest Hemingway's, like, home.
Okay.
And there's just a colony. I want to say Florida. I could be very wrong. Hold on.
So he has a six-toed cat? I haven't heard that either.
Yes. Hemingway. Hold on. Now we're going to look it up. Sorry, everybody. House and Cats. Yeah. It's in...
Key West.
The Key West. It's Florida. I did know that. Yeah. And it's home to nearly 60 polydactyl six-toed cats.
Okay. There's 60 six-toed cats?
Yes.
There? Why?
Ernest Hemingway was given a white six-toed cat by a ship's captain, and some of the cats who live in the museum grounds are descendants of that cat. Named Snow White.
Did they... And they inherited the six toes?
I think when you have six toes, you have six toes.
That's not true. You can have a six toe as a person. I don't think it's a heritable trait.
Hold on. Let's see. The cats. Let's see. There's more about the cats here. Now we're going to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. This has gone.
It's home to nearly 60 cats.
This has gotten away from us.
Cats normally have 5 front toes and 4 back toes. About half of the cats in the museum have the physical polydactyl trait, but they all carry the polydactyl gene in their DNA, which means that the ones that have 4 and 5 toes can still mother or father six-toed kittens.
It's a recessive gene.
Yes. Most cats have extra toes on their front feet and sometimes on their back feet as well. Sometimes it looks as if they're wearing mittens because they appear to have a thumb on their paw.
Okay, so it's not uncommon in cats.
It's not uncommon in cats.
Okay.
Usually, there's certain breeds of cats. I think these might be Maine Coons. I could be wrong. Okay. They just call them the Hemingway cats. Maine Coons regularly have extra toes.
Okay. See, I didn't know that because it's quite uncommon in humans.
Right. It's very common in cats.
Okay. I mean, I honestly didn't even know that the normal number for the back is 4.
Yeah.
I just figured they all had 5 of everything.
It says Key West is a small island, and it's possible that many of the cats on the island are all related. So it's just inbred.
I've been to Key West once with my friends.
Yeah.
And on a cruise.
Mm-hmm.
And we went. This is nothing to do with Hemingway. But we went to a clothing optional bar. This is
Michael.
This is when I we went we went the summer I finished med school before I started. It wasn't for that reason, but that's just when it timed out. So just a bunch of young 20-year-old dudes out there. But yeah, we went to a clothing optional bar, and none of us were like, we're not gonna like nude up here in front of my guy friends.
Or will you?
And then we did. But no, but we were like we were like egging each other on, like, someone like at least get in your boxer, like go up to the bar like kind of naked. Not enough. I don't want to see your...
naked there?
Well, so it was pretty empty when we came in. It was just kind of someone like, just like go up and order something in your boxers. Like, oh yeah, be a rebel. And one of my friends does. And then this like clearly like Key West native kind of, just leather skin from the sun, someone who's you're out in, had to be in his 60s, comes up, he's in his clothes, stands next to my friend who's in his box, has his pants down around his ankles in his boxers, and just like strikes up a conversation with him, and then mid-conversation just nudes up, and we were like, wow. That guy just whipped it out in front of you. We were so shocked. We were like, we have to get out of here. We gotta get out of here. Get your drink and get the hell out of here.
We're scared.
We were scared.
I will say there is a famous hike it's in California. It's kind of off the 15, and it's like Death Valley. Like, it's full on, like...
California people and just... The 15. I don't know what that means.
It's the road we took to go to Vegas.
Sure. Okay.
You were there with me.
I know, but I don't even know the road names around, like, the numbers are where I live.
And it was, oh gosh, I'm blanking on what it's called now. But anyway, it's this hike to a hot springs, like a natural hot springs. That's just Deep Creek. It's called Deep Creek Hot Springs.
Okay.
And it's just like in the middle of the desert. And it's like kind of dangerous to do when it's too hot because it is like in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
And it's apparently just a known like nudist hike. Like nudist welcome, right? We had no idea. We were like, oh. And there were several times we went to this hike and we're walking through and there's just an old man fully naked carrying a backpack. Like the full backpack hiking gear, just naked. And it was always like the creepy old men. And you're just like, oh God, like unexpected every time.
Yeah.
You're just like, ah.
But you did it nude too.
No, I did not. No, I did not. I did not. Anyway, Hemingway named all of his cats after famous people, so they do the same tradition today and name the cats after famous people. But anyway, we went down the rabbit hole of the cats.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about Hemingway. And first, Hemingway understood better than almost any writer before or since that a persona can sell books. So he cultivated his own persona.
So he's making his own
I guess so. That's what it sounds like. Hemingway's the man's man.
Oh.
Hemingway, the big game hunter.
I've been cultivating that persona for a while now.
So smoking jacket.
How's it working for me?
Great. You're such a man's man.
Yeah.
Smoking jacket, big game hunter, deep sea fisherman, war correspondent, bare knuckle boxer, the man's man. And
none of that is how. I mean, I don't know anything.
But
about
think
him,
about
but
like the early 1900s, right?
I know, but I'm just saying, whatever legend I guess is around him, I don't associate any of that. I guess the fisherman, I might associate with Hemingway.
I associate the cats.
I didn't know about the cats. So.
And it worked brilliantly.
Okay.
He became the most famous American writer of his generation.
So he was a legend in his lifetime.
In his lifetime. Yeah. Because of
on purpose.
His legend.
Yeah,
on purpose.
He made it up himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
His book sold. His lifestyle was endlessly photographed and reported on, and he became an icon. But the persona consumed him. So, Key West, Florida is where the Hemingway mythology is the most concentrated. That's where he lived, right? His home and museum is one of Key West's top tourist attractions.
We might have walked by it. Now that you're saying it, I do remember that. I do remember that.
You go for the cats. It's a beautiful Spanish colonial house where he lived in the 30s and wrote several of his major works. If I could speak, it'd be great here. Several of his major works. The house is famous for its population of polydactyl cats. See? Six-toed cats descending from Hemingway's original cat, allegedly given to him by a ship captain. But now that we know that he controls his own narrative, who knows where the cat came from, right? Visitors tour the house, see his writing studio, hear stories about his wild life in Key West, the drinking, the fishing, the bar fights, his multiple marriages. He was a man's man.
This is my kind of guy.
And then you can then walk down to Sloppy Joe's bar, where he supposedly drank, and order a Papa Doble cocktail.
Wow.
Drink.
Papa Doble? Is that his famous drink?
I guess so. And the entire Key West Hemingway experience is about the persona.
Yeah.
Tough, drinking, adventurous, masculine. The writing is kind of like lost to this like persona.
Okay.
And here's the irony. Hemingway helped create this persona, but it also destroyed him. Because once you become a legend, you have to keep performing it.
Uh-huh.
So Hemingway felt enormous pressure to keep being Hemingway, to keep hunting, to keep drinking, to keep being tough, to keep having adventures worthy of myth. And his later books were criticized for being parodies of his earlier style. All the Hemingway mannerisms without the substance. Critics said he was becoming a caricature of himself. And they were right, because it's exactly what he thought his mythology demanded.
Interesting. Okay.
So he struggled with depression, with multiple injuries from his adventurous lifestyle, from alcoholism.
Yeah, a bit.
And he died in 61, at 61.
Oh.
By suicide.
I guess I knew that too.
Yeah. The mythology demanded a version of himself that he just couldn't sustain. And he felt that his image, I guess, was more important than being
alive
or true to himself.
Yeah.
And now way more than 60 years after his death, the Hemingway tourism industry is as strong as ever. Key West, Pamplona, Spain, where he attended bullfights. Havana, Cuba, where he lived and wrote. Ketchum, Idaho, where he died. They all market the connection to Hemingway. But what they're marketing is the mythical icon, not an actual person. But he became his.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a weird
that?
One though, because he
duality.
Set out to make that persona, but then he lived that persona. So I don't know. At some point, you are that, right?
Yeah, it's like he lost the revolutionary use of omission, his mastery of dialogue, his structural innovation. The writing became second to just.
Yeah, he lost sight of the.
He lost sight of the art to be the man's man.
Worth it.
So, I mean, that's interesting because that's a case of it becoming, he was famous in his lifetime. He was the reason he was the one telling the narrative that made it famous. And when do you stop becoming the person and start becoming the myth if you're the one creating the myth?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I've got a question for you. This is just a hypothetical. What modern writer do you think is most likely to become a future legend?
Oh, that's a really George R. R. Martin.
Ooh,
he's so popular.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You could not have read any of the Song of Ice and Fire and know who he is. The other one I think is like teetering on becoming that popular, but maybe isn't quite there, that might transcend time, is Brandon Sanderson.
Yeah.
But I think George R. R. Martin is so impactful because he took something that was not quite popular, like the whole medieval, we were kind of past the medieval mythology stuff, and he just built this world that sucked everybody in. And there were people... I like the medieval stuff and the fantasy, so I'm like a sucker to get drawn in. But there are people that do not like that got so drawn into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Tolkien would have been another one to discuss.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. He has a lot. We'll have to do a whole thing on Tolkien, because he has like a whole interesting...
Yeah, I don't know a ton about the real guy, Tolkien, but... Yeah, I think he's pretty interesting.
But wasn't he like a teacher that wrote The Hobbit for his students?
I think, or it might have been his kids. I forget. Yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah, and then he even he just wrote letters. Like he wrote for kids and fun. He wrote for fun. Yeah.
I have a book of his, I think his great grandkid published it. But it's it's downstairs. It's a book of his letters that he wrote every year for decades to, I think, his kids and then their kids for Christmas.
Yeah.
Pretending to be Santa. And they go from kind of normally, like, I'm Santa and be good. And then they just become year after year building on a story. He, like, creates these, like, I was battling, my elves were battling the snow bears. And
then his kids put it together and created the life and times of Santa Claus.
Yes, that's what happened.
Exactly what happened.
It's fascinating. Because they're just letters to his kids and then grandkids. And he, like, can't help himself but create this totally unnecessary story that goes on for years.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's he like hand drew little scribbles, like he hand draws the battle and stuff happening.
One of the next podcast episodes, we're gonna do a whole deconstruction of Tolkien now, because that could be a whole thing in itself.
He's got a very good Mallory's Adventures, Weird World Adventures quote too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Not all those who wander are lost.
Yeah. That is great. Yeah. Right.
It's really great. I mean, but think about like what people would make your legacy, right? Like there's a persona that we push
I'm a
out.
man's man.
Right.
Smoking jacket, bar fights, deep sea, fishing, gambling, all the stuff.
Right.
I would say
stuff.
The man's man stuff.
Right.
I would say that's what I would be remembered as.
I like to push the Explorers Club, the research, the exploration, the weird penguin. If I could die the weird penguin girl, I'd be happy.
Seems like a low bar.
I love my penguins.
She died as she lived, covered in penguin shit.
I will say, before we wrap, when we were in Africa, the way that you would get first shower,
let's be covered in the most penguin
whoever
poop.
was covered in the most penguin poop got first shower.
Nice.
So it's kind of like, you didn't want to be, but then you got first shower if you were. So I made it a little. There was one shower.
Nice.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us in one shower.
Yeah.
And so it was like
So how often did you get first shower?
I got it a couple times. Yeah. It shifted on the day, but I definitely got it a couple of times. We only did baby days twice a week, so it wasn't like that was when you got poop on you. Because the babies just don't have control over it, and we would need to get poop samples from them.
Yeah, we've discussed this many times.
So you would lift them up, and that's when you get pooped on. Yeah. But like ideally, if the person you're working with was like on it, you'd like grab the bag and like have it under them. Yeah. But that's just never how it worked out. Never.
Okay. Well.
Yep. Anyway, this has been fun. So I hope we kind of had a fun time deconstructing, I guess, how an author becomes legendary.
My takeaway is just make up that you're a man's man.
But then he killed himself.
Worth it.
I don't know. When is it worth it?
Yeah.
But anyway, that was fun. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. Keep following along, and one of these days when you go to Amazon Prime, Weird World Adventures Season 2 will be there. And be sure to visit Mallory'sAdventures.com for more. You'll see announcements there, and also on Instagram at Mallory's Adventures or Facebook at Weird World Adventures, where we will announce Season 2. So keep your eyes out. I'm your host, Mallory.
And I'm your host, Michael.
And until next time, everybody,
stay weird.